Okay, let's see. All right, so we have holiday again. So special lecture. So it is about how we actually look for some good articles and using what we have, for example, that Ihua provides, as well as we'll go into a little bit about the APA style, like how we should actually write about our paper following the APA style, the 7th edition, including the references as well as the citation inside. So let's see. All right. Journal articles. We know journal articles, all right. So what is a journal articles? Well, you might be heard a lot already, like, oh, that is a peer review. People do the research, they publish up there. The better the journal article, the better the journal, the better the article, and etc. But what I want to say here is that journal article is actually a form of communication between the scholars. So it is something that, because the way that we communicate with other people is that we're trying to use our research, we're trying to find some new discoveries, we find something new, and then I want to tell some other people, my colleagues in other places, in other corner or the area in the globe, maybe in the west or somewhere. I want to tell someone about it. I found what I have found in my new study. So it is kind of like communication. I share my new things. So it is also like, or maybe I already built some new knowledge based on the previous one. So it's kind of like connecting my idea with the existing study, and I try to let people know. Sometimes you will see like, respond to who. That is the communication as well. So it's kind of like I can critique on other people's papers, trying to point out what are the strengths that they have, as well as what are the weaknesses in their work. It's kind of like communication, and that person can actually respond back to me again. So that is kind of like a communication. And it is also a venue for us to have certain debates regarding the academic or the theories or how we do the research. The reason is that because, like a lot of times it is based on cultural difference or different context, time period. We can have different types of findings or discoveries that we try to interpret them based on our own culture as well as compare with others' country. And yeah, here are the journals that actually are for the communication. I actually have them ranked, if not mistaken. Well, but it doesn't really matter if the article, if the journal has a high impact or really rank really well on top of it. It is always depends on your field of study, your field of interest. Because if I am a political communication field, I wouldn't be able to use or try to go to journal of advertising to look for everything, although they might have certain things that related to political advertisement, but then it is less likely to have them there. So when you actually trying to look for some articles and then you want to search for the journals or trying to make some evaluation based on the articles, you'll be like, oh, what journal is this? Then you will be like, oh, wow, wow, it's not a really good journal. I don't see it in the top 10, but it's fine. As long as that journal is the top journal in your own field, then you should be fine for refer to the article from that journal. So there are a lot of journal in the communication and media, and sometimes we also cross-discipline to the psychology as well as politics. And one of the way, and one of the way that we can actually look for the journal is, of course, is through the Google Scholar, right? So everyone will use the Google Scholar. You just type whatever keywords that you want, and you can actually search for many things. But for example, here you will be like, I was searching about the political disengagement, and here comes all the list here for the articles. Sometimes you'll find that it is hard to access to a certain articles, right? You'll be like, no access, you don't have any access. But then you can actually make some settings, set it up with our Yihua library, which what they call it at Block Yihua. So once you have this one set up, you can actually go into the article for free. Okay, there's a link here. If you have not ever been to this one before or never actually looked into it before, so just try on it. There are several settings there that you actually will have to work on with your Google Scholar, and it allows you to actually explore more articles for free. The other way is that when you actually look for certain things and you are unable to access to them, it might be locked or maybe it's not available for us to view it online. You can actually click Find at Yihua and you can request for a hard copy most of the time. So you click on it and you'll come to this site to apply to get that article. It can be free sometimes, but for some journal or some articles, we might have to pay a little bit. So if it is said that you have to go to the second floor, it means that you might have to spend a little bit of money, but it's not going to be a lot because it's going to be like, maybe they're going to charge you like 100 won per page. So if it will cost a lot, they will email you in advance to communicate with you whether how much you're willing to pay and etc. If it pop up with the fourth floor, which is the FRIC, then most of the time you will be free. You will get it free. The one thing that you have to do is just walk in your library, either to the second floor or to the fourth floor to pick up the paper. They will send you the Kakao message when it is done. Well, the other way that we search for article is through the library. So do you know how many journals we have? Like how many journals Yihua library can actually access to? We have a lot of them. So you can access a lot of them through this site here. Okay, the next thing is, if you have not really familiar with the Yihua library, I would suggest you go there. Actually, you type a little bit of keywords. You can search for the journals, or else you can type some keywords that you actually are interested in for the topic, and you can actually access for them. Some are free, and most of them are free actually. And then some of them, if they're not free, then you can request for a hard copy. So the next thing that I will recommend you guys to look for the paper is the Research Rabbit. So this Research Rabbit is a site, online site, kind of like Discovery tool that is like your assistant. And one thing that they do a really good thing is that it allows you to have the connection. Okay, let's try on here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so if you actually go into here and then you create your thing or you search that, it will come, let's say I am working on the health rapporteur. So those are the health rapporteur that it shows to me. If I click one of them, and you can find a similar work. When you're looking at a similar work, we give you this network, okay? Those network here. So this network, you can zoom in. You can actually zoom in and you see who are they and how well they are connected to each other. It's kind of like similar papers. So you will see something that's really regarding to health information seeking behavior. And then you click the other one, you'll give you another paper. It's also regarding the health information seeking behavior. Now let's check the other one. It is about the information seeking behavior as well, literature review. And here is the trend of identifying the hotspots for research on internet health information seeking behavior. So you can see like when you put in a keyword for a certain topic, you are able to actually connect to similar papers. So I would suggest this one when you actually just start to work on a certain topic that you are not really familiar with, so that you can have more and more and more available sources. So try to get this one when you work on not only in this class, but other classes or other research topic. It's really helpful. So the other way that we try to search for more good paper is that is called backward citation searching, is that we find one good journal, one good article, okay, not journal, one good journal articles, and then read through it and go to the reference list. Don't just stop at there, okay? Go to the list. At the end there, everything there is a goal. That is a gold mine for you, right? Check what type of sources the author actually use or the authors use. You can find a lot of really good high quality articles for your own research. It saves you the time because you don't really have to start with the scratch. You just see what they have done before, but don't just quote or cite what they have been taught in a paper. Go to the original work in the references. So it helps you to have certain foundation or collect all the literature review that are available for the same topic. But then how are you going to evaluate if this article is good or not? So first thing you have to ask yourself, as well as evaluate that paper, the article, is that a peer review paper? And where was it being published? Check what is the journal there? Are these journals are actually some good quality journal? And who actually wrote it? Are they someone that is actually quite have a expertise in certain background? And the citation number. As well as after you read it, is it relevant for your research topic? Are they actually well written? So those are the things that criteria that you actually have to evaluate them. Now, how are you going to identify the high impact journals in your field? Okay, two things that we use the most, maybe three. So first is the JCR reports, as well as the Web of Science. So if you go in the Web of Science, you will see something like this. Example here I have is the political communication. You can see here. So what can you tell from this page? It has the impact factor. How is the impact on the academic? And the category, where is the field in political science, as well as the communication. And if you look at it, it will say that it is a Q1, which is the top level of the journal, and the percentage rank as well. Okay, so the other way is that we look at the Google Scholar. We look at the person, that person who wrote that paper about their research impact. So basically you look at the citation as well as the H index. So here is a scholar that I actually admire a lot, okay? It's from the University of Amsterdam. So if you look at it, there'll be like a lot of paper, right? High quality, well, and then looking on here on the screen here, you can see citation is 47,000. So it's a lot. I mean, he has the influence in the academic because of the quality of the research, right? And you can also check on the H index, how many citation has been, that's the value for calculating the impact factor as well. So the H index, so two things that we're looking. All right, you can compare the scholar, but of course you have to see, are they actually in the field that you are researching? The things is that sometimes, most of the time, you will like to kind of like follow one or two scholar that are really expertise in what you are interested in researching. So that will help you to follow the trend, what they have been doing, what they have been published, and then it will keep going and build on your own research as well. So the next thing, we use a lot of reference management tools. Now we talk about a lot of papers, how you're going to get the journal articles. There's so many things that you actually want to read, but there's so many things. How am I going to remember what are they? How should I do? I put it a list in my folder, but I don't know what is going on with everything. Then you have to manage them. So we do have a lot of different reference management tools. I recommend here for you Sorrels. So it is kind of like an application of software that actually help us to maybe sometimes can collect, find them, and organize them. And one thing that's really good with them is that they help you to cite it correctly. Okay, so it's automatic. So you just have to connect to your Microsoft Word. I'm not sure about the HTTP, are they going to work or not, but it will help you to insert the citation when you are writing your paper. So it's cite while you write. Automatically will build you a reference list, and that list is the one that actually following the APA style. My recommendation, of course, is the EndNote. The reason is that it is actually free for eHua students. So I would suggest you try to get one before you graduate, okay, with your eHua account. So here's the link that you can actually download it. And they also have several like step-by-step teaching you how to connect with the words and how to actually use it for them. The other one that I saw a lot of people actually recommend is Zotero. It is totally free and it's open source. And one thing good with it is that a lot of users actually comment online saying that it is really easy to use compared to EndNote or Mendeley. And Mendeley is also one of the great reference management tools. It's free. So they have the basic version is a free one. So this is how the EndNote look like. So let's say that I am studying on one topic, which is the health rapporteur. I have them with like different files. So one is the media dependency. I have the meta-analysis file as well to talk about all the research regarding certain topics. And I also have the infodemic in it because it is related to the health information. So you can actually have them categorized based on how you're going to study. And it will give you a list here. Who are they, the authors, the years, and eventually you can connect them to the Microsoft Word. And when you're writing a paper, you can use it to cite them easily. So move on to another section. So it is about the APA style. So we know APA, right? The American Psychological Association. We often use their referencing system to write our paper academically, especially in the social science, especially when we are working on the media communication. Most of the time, they will require the APA style. And up to today, it will be the 7th edition. One important thing is that we are using the APA is that we want to give credit to the sources that we use. Because those are not my thing, not my thoughts. So how did I come up with certain sentences saying this and that? So I have to give credit to someone who have been working so hard for so many years to find out some interesting findings. I have to quote them, cite them. All right. So the proper use of APA style also shows that the credibility of us writers, our credibilities, okay, our accountabilities to the source of all the materials that we are using. And most importantly, it actually protects us who write the papers from plagiarism. Okay, if you don't cite it, and it's going to be like, okay, this writer, this scholar, she or he is plagiarizing. So it is important to cite things that you use that is not belong to you. Okay. And the purposeful or accidentally use of source material by other writers without giving the appropriate credit is not something that we want, right? So, but of course, despite the APA, sometimes we will use MLA or the Chicago style or the AMA. So those depend, but most of the time in the social science, as well as especially in media and communication, we are more likely to adopt the APA style. So it has APA standardized a lot of things, the stylistic, the format, and the most important things, the references. So things have been keep changing since the APA first really released their manual in writing. One thing that's come new nowadays, I think in the 6th or 7th edition, they actually added this one or changed this one, is that we try to use the gender neutral pronoun. Instead of saying he or she, nowadays, most of the time, we will say individual, or maybe we will say the publics, the citizens, or we will use they, their. We don't actually say he or she anymore in writing a paper because this is kind of like something more towards the gender respect as well, the gender neutral pronoun. We don't want to have a differences bias in gender, especially in writing, to make your paper more feminism or to make your paper more masculine, because as a scholar, you have to maintain a neutral there. And then as well as grouping for certain label for a certain group of people. So we don't say poor people. What are you going to say? People living in a poverty. We don't actually try to describe them. They are poor. No, those people who are living in the poverty or they have facing some financial difficulties. We don't say them poor anymore, directly describe them. So at the same time, when we talk about the age, we use the age ranges. So we don't say people over 40 years old. Now we will say like people in the range of 40 to 50 years old. Always have a certain range with it. And the next thing is the abbreviation. Write it out first time when you use in a paper. And then after that, you can only use the abbreviation in the parentheses. And then for the rest of papers, you can just use the abbreviation. Must be consistent, have to be consistent, very consistent. So you wouldn't change a little bit. And in this time, you will write a full name. And then the next one, I'm going to just use CNA. So here are the two examples that you can actually, the way that you actually use the abbreviations. Numbers. So numbers is also something that we have some rules, for the APA. So there are two main rules here. When you have the numbers that is less than 10, and when you have numbers when writing, okay, you want to say 10 people, and greater than 10, we have different way of writing. First thing, less than 10, okay, less than 10. You have to write in the word TWO, FOUR, or TEN, okay. Only exception is when we talk about the age. 10 years old, you have to write 10 years old, as well as the time or the unit of measurement. When the number is more than 10, we don't care of the words anymore. You don't spell it out. You just directly write it. 11, 39, 45, 36. But a number cannot begin a sentence, okay? When you have to use, when you say 10 people or 11 people crossing the road, you are not supposed to use one people crossing the road. You have to spell it out. 11 people crossing the road. Oh, that is the rule. And then for the percentage, numbers less than 10, you have to write it like NINE%. When the numbers is greater than 10, for example, 12, you just write it out number. 1, 2%. But if you would like to have a sentence in front of the sentence, right? Like what I gave the example, 11 people crossing the road, and then you have to spell it out. 25%, okay? Now, in text citation, we use in text citation a lot. When there's one author, it'll be easier, right? You just put the author's last name. Oh, this is two authors. Okay, anyway, you just put the last name and the publication date. And if you quote them directly, exactly the same sentence, the same thing, you quote them, you have to put a quotation, then you have to provide a page number. Where did you actually, because I couldn't find it, the paper might be long, it might be a book, so where is exactly you copy or you quote them from? I need a page for them. So you'll be like Cassidy and Earl, 2018, and then the comma, page number 56. And then number 3 and number 4 are actually the one author. So you can see like Smith 2018 found that blah, 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 blah. Or else you can also put it in another way. Talk about a statement, both male and female nursing students reported feeling anxiety or anxious about entering the clinical setting. And then you have the bracket, Smith 2018. So we have 2 and more authors. 1, I already show you up there, 1 and 2. Let's move on. So you can say like according to feminist researcher, Reid and Tate, 2018 in the bracket, okay? And then you have the quotation. After the quotation, you have a bracket and say from where. That's the page number, okay? And some feminist researchers question that women's responses to the war have been ignored. In here, you can see how it's different, right? Reid and Tate. Now, when you're writing as a narrative, you use the word and A and D directly. But when you kind of use the parentheses in the citation, you have to use that symbol and then the page number will be like this one. The same thing goes to more authors, more than 2. You'll be like ETAL dot, maintain that. And then if you're actually having it at the end of a sentence, then you have a bracket. So when the citation in the parentheses includes 2 or more sources, let's say you read a lot of papers, just want to support one sentence, you have to put them in alphabetical order, okay? I know that in South Korean, when you read the Korean papers, basically it actually go with the year, right? 2017 first, then only 2018, then only 2020. But in the English paper, it has to follow the alphabet. So K first. You have to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You have to follow the sequence. Okay. What if I have my same authors and same year? So good authors, they publish a lot of papers in 1 year. So you're going to pay like A and B. So Korea A, 2008 A, and the other one is Korea B. Okay, so when you are having the in-text citation, you'll be like Korea and then comma 2008 A. Okay. And also the other way that you can do is that, you know, like sometimes, an author, they publish a lot of paper in the same year, however, with different the co-authors. And you will have to spell until the different authors. Okay, for example, Mirsky, Geismar, both are the same, right? For 2 papers, but the third person becomes different person. Okay, Jijanre, as well as the other one, the second paper is Schooler. So this is how we mix it more, how to say, so that we can know these 2 papers are actually different papers and 2 different references that we should actually look up. So what about secondary sources? Okay, many things happen here. A lot of people actually make a lot of mistake in this one. So in a text, the name of the original work and give a citation for the secondary source. We do a lot, okay? So as an example is that you found a quotation from the cover that you want to use in your text, okay? The quotation from covers. But the thing is this, I found this information in Jones. And I can't find them actually. I'm not able to actually find where is the cover's original source. I don't know what this paper is. So covers have been talking about this, but the thing is like what he has been talking is actually in the paper of Jones. What should I do? So I read the Jones paper and I saw, oh, he kept mentioning about cover. I think it's important. I want to put it in my paper as well. So what should I do? How should I quote who? Jones or cover? So this is an example. So according to cover, and then you have a parenthesis as cited in Jones 2018, blah, 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 blah. And then, or you can also do it the other way, is that cover as cited in Jones 2018. So one important thing, another important thing is about the DOI, electronic sources. And it's not new anymore. So nowadays, most of the journal, they request us to put on a DOI. So you have to get familiar with this one as well. So it is now being used. It is kind of like a unique code, a code that provide us a consistent link to where the reference, the paper is, the source. So include a DOI instead of the URL whenever it is listed on the document or for print or electronic resources. But sometimes we write it like an URL. So here's an example. You can actually have the reference, and then you'll be like HTTP and then the DOI and the number. So nowadays, most of the APA, they'll require the DOI. How are we going to citing about the e-sources, not the journal article anymore, something that you actually come through, like the news site. So here's the examples. You have to have the date, the year, and the name. You have to have the name because there will be always, most of the time, I would say, like the journalists themselves are the writers. So you have to put the journalists as the authors in the front, then only you have the title. If you look at this one, you can see it's quite different from how you cite the journal article. Let's look front again. So trust. Here you can see what is the title here. An insider perspective of daily stress and coping in elders with the arthritis. So the thing is here, you can see the italic, right? So the title is non-italic, just regular. But then the journal names should be italic, following by the issues. But if you cite e-sources, online sources like news article or something, the title should be italic, right? And the sources, the BBC News, will be just the regular font. So here's the thing, yep. And the second thing is that when you have the column, the first alphabet should be the upper case. And then here as well, the italic will be the name of the journal as well as the issue, and following by the volume number and the page number. And then you have the DOI. This is the right way to work on the citation for the references. All right, here. This is all for today. It is a special lecture, so it wouldn't be so long. All right, so I will see you guys next week.